North, south, east or west, Crickbuzz Live is back, and I do not jest. Just in case you think I'm in the mood for bad poetry, there's a method behind my madness. Today again demonstrates the geographical boundaries of this wonderful tournament, because we've got a North Indian derby. One side a captain who spent much of his time in the east, on the other side a captain who spent much of his time in the south and then migrated west for the last couple of years. That's how beautiful this is. And in the studio we've got one gentleman originally from the east, moved up north, and one from the far south, not of India, but of the whole world. Any further south you'd meet the penguins of Antarctica.
You would be, yeah, and we fly there from Christchurch, actually. Good evening to you, and we have to apologise, first of all, Joy, for being a couple of minutes late.
Yeah, but...
he had to change his fantasy team. Marty, what are you doing? You picked Gale in your fantasy team, you had to change it. That's why we're late, folks. Sorry about that.
Yeah, and I can tell you one thing. It's a producer's nightmare. You know, there may be 20 producers sitting out there tearing up their run orders because, you know, it's all about Gale, and Gale's not playing suddenly.
Yes, absolutely. I'm glad you didn't put it all on me, but about the fact that the fact that he's not playing changes everything. It changes discussion points, it changes fantasy teams, and of course it brings down the average height of the entire Kings 11 team. But talking of heights, I'm so glad we're not doing this show standing up, because combined height of these two gentlemen is about 13 feet. But the reason I say that, Simon, is this battle, Delhi versus Punjab, a bit like 5'8" playing 6'6"?
It's one of those great battles, though, isn't it? It's the northern, it's the sort of the more punchy northern boys of the Punjab up against the big city rivals of Delhi, and I like it. They're more aggressive, the northern people, aren't they? In India, they're a little more aggressive. I notice that when I go up that way.
If you don't abuse properly in Delhi, you don't get a license. You know? You've got to know the choices to abuse. They say you do it right, okay, now here's your license for you, otherwise you don't get it.
Simon, I can tell you, it doesn't rub off on everyone. Look at Joy, the way he was in the east, still like that up north. At least we hope it stays that way.
We hope.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's a good battle, isn't it? It's a battle that Delhi have to win. They have to find a way to do something. They're back home, 7 of the next 9 for them at home, so they've got to find a way and a method to do something and to win at home, and just make sure that the crowd become their 12th man, I think. So whether they can do that, I'm not sure, up against this Kings 11 side that are flying.
They're flying, exactly, and the points table, I think, will confirm exactly why they're flying in terms of numbers, because this is the best start they've had forever. They were top of the points table yesterday until CSK just sneaked over in terms of net run rate, 8 and 8, and look at where the double Ds are, at the bottom, languishing on 2. Mumbai Indians should have been on 10, they're still on 2. Nobody knows why. Even the Mumbai Indians are trying to figure that one out, but the Delhi Daredevils, really, they'll want to start going upwards. And strangely, Joy, they've had 5 games now on the road. Finally, they've come home.
Yeah, they've come home, and I think it's going to be big for them. I'm not sure, though, that this surface, again, I don't think this team knows the surface any better than the opposition teams or any of the other teams. So I don't think they have a huge advantage at this point. And while Gautam has played a lot out here, Kotla has also changed as a pitch. And again, I have a theory in which I feel that Gautam may not be the best person to be opening for them right up at the top, you know, which we probably will discuss at some point in time.
Interesting theory, but the first part of what Joy said, something you stick by, Simon, that is the pitch.
Yeah.
If you're a home surface, it has to be your own, it has to belong to you.
It does, and I haven't seen too much of this throughout the IPL. I haven't seen enough teams having a real advantage at home where Hyderabad do. They're one of the few teams, I think, that have a pitch that's almost, it's tailor-made for their type of game. It's a 150 pitch, and they bowl beautifully on it. They've got good spinners. Bhuvi's outstanding. They've got a little bit of bounce with Billy Stanlake when he plays, but they've got batsmen who I think chase well, chasing 150, 160 only. Chasing 180, 190, they've struggled twice now doing that. And I think that's the downfall of the Sunrisers Hyderabad when they play on good wickets. So at home, superb. Delhi have just got to find something that suits them. Without Chris Morris, I know it's a little bit more difficult, Joy, but I think they need a pitch with pace and bounce so that their batsmen can prosper and their quick bowlers can make the most of it.
Absolutely. I mean, they need the ball to come on in. It's an interesting one, though. About 5-6 years back, you know, it was very much a situation where the local captain would make the pitches. Yeah. So, you know, Mumbai would make, Sachin would go out and talk to the curator and they'd get the pitch they want to. Kolkata, you know, Gautam Gambhir would spend time. That was over, because at some point in time, the IPL turned around and said, pitches have to be more uniform. They have to be higher scoring. And I think in some way that's taken away a little bit of the charm of the game for me, you know.
Absolutely.
Because you need to have pitches which are different, because you need those close 140 games just as much as you need those, 180, 190, 200.
Pretty much like we talk about international cricket. I mean, teams travelling overseas, you might complain going to England, getting a bit of the seam movement or the bounce in Australia or the weather conditions in New Zealand, which is more meant for the penguins than people. But honestly, that's what the point of travelling abroad is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Pitches today, my feeling is they are like McDonald's, they're fast food restaurants, they're all the same. 180, 190, 100. How does it make a difference? You need that variety, and that's the beauty of cricket. See, cricket is one of the few games where the surface makes a huge difference. There are very few games. You can't. Football is rare to say that. Sometimes they'll say the ground is hard or something, or the ground is a bit bumpy in many conditions. But it's not as if it's a huge difference. Home fan support is. But cricket, pitch is everything.
We've been on air 7 minutes and 8 seconds. That's how long it took Joy to mention food at some point in the show.
She's made me hungry as well.
Yeah. Also, it's probably a good topic to discuss now that we don't have Chris Gayle to talk about. We had so much to talk about. Gayle versus Morris. It's all out the window.
Yeah, but I think it's tactical as well in some ways. The pace, they didn't know the team. They didn't know Morris wasn't playing. And they worry about Chris Gayle against genuine short pitch bowling. And I think that's the way that everyone will try and bowl at him. Trent Bolt. You've now got Plunkett, they had Morris, they had options to get upstairs and bounce him. Maybe that's part of it. Okay, I know Ashwin said that the toss, he's got a little niggle and he pulled up a little bit sore. That's probably right. But it's also the fact that on a quicker surface and a bouncy surface, he is not the best man to be opening the batting. And I think it's a great move. If it's slightly tactical and a little bit about an injury, it's a very good move. It's a smart way to play.
He did look, the fact that it was not the same Chris Gayle we knew who just stood and delivered. He was running between the wickets. He had something to prove. He proved it. And now I think the body is telling him, I need a couple of more days.
Yeah, exactly. I think exactly that. I think he has it. He also needs to be conserved, because I think they need him in the business end of the tournament. What you don't want is him to have a fantastic start and then get injured. And the Kings 11, I think, again, interestingly, with David Miller in. And David Miller is a strange man, because he seems to have all the talent in the world, but just, he shows flashes of it. For a season he does brilliantly, and then he goes away and he just disappears.
He's a perennial underachiever. And that's a sad thing to say, because I love David Miller. He's one of the first guys you see in a Kings 11 uniform, walks up, "G'day Simon, how you going? Great to see you. Hope you're well." And he's a terrific bloke. So it doesn't mean he's a bad human, because I don't think he's performed to the level he should. Absolutely. It's just the fact that he is an underachiever at times at international level and at this level here, because he's got all the shots in the world and all the ability in the world, but just sometimes he finds a way to get out.
But not a bad replacement at the top for Chris Gayle to have Aaron Finch. That's where he likes batting. That's where he should be. I know with the Gujarat Lions there was a bit of a dilemma coming in at number 3, occasionally 4.
It was too hard for them. I like Finch at the top. I think that's where he needs to play.
I know he needs to play, of course, if he's got over his honeymoon right now, because it's taking him a bit of time. And while I do understand,
Maxwell are both not over the wedding, are they?
Yeah, the groom and the best man. They've been. It's time for him to actually have a honeymoon out there in the middle. But the Delhi Daredevils, they're at home. This is the match that's crucial for them. Let's have a quick look at their lineup. They've had a couple of changes as well, and there you can see the changes. Jason Roy, Chris Morris out, and in come Dan Christian and Liam Plunkett. Dan Christian for Morris, in a sense, like for like, maybe not quite got the pace and bounce of a Morris, but I've always been a fan of Dan Christian. He does deliver with both bat and ball.
Occasionally. Yes, I think he was an overpriced buy early on.
Yeah, 1 million.
Very much. What did he get, $1 million or 900,000?
Yeah. The next year he went down to 100.
Yes, exactly. So look, he's another one, a bit like David Miller, I think, that has had big money tags put on him at different times, and every now and then he'll win you a game, but consistency has been his biggest issue. Another opportunity for him tonight. Geez, they've got a lot of bowling options, Delhi.
Yeah, but my big problem is you take a guy like Harshal Patel. He's not going to scare anyone. He's a stopgap. Now you have Shami out there. Unless Shami is injured, you are 1 and 4 down. You play your attacking option. You play your aggressive option. Number one. Number two is, at some point in time in this IPL, somebody will sit down with Vijay Shankar and tell him what he's supposed to do in the IPL. Because right now he's not batting, he's not bowling. I'm not even sure I see him that often in the field as well.
I look at that Delhi team and I think it's a team that to me suggests we're in trouble. We're going for a lot of bits and pieces cricketers here. We're not. I mean, look at the bowling options: Maxwell, Tewatia, Shankar if they need, Christian, Plunkett, Nadeem, Patel, Bolt.
Yeah,
all bowling options if they want to use them. So it's a team that just suggests we'll pick a whole lot of guys who do a little bit of each, and we're not really sure. Get some batsmen in there.
Also, talking of the batsmen, I know we're going to discuss it because they're going to be chasing, but opening batsmen, I mean, how do you look at that lineup? Is that about right for you?
I have a theory about this, and I believe that Gautam is at his best in an IPL which was 3, 4, 5 years ago, which was the IPLs where you had 150, 160 kind of totals as winning totals and played, and you got a strike rate of 125, 130. I think for Gautam now, this IPL is a kind of IPL where 170s, 190s, those are the kind of totals that are happening. And what I'm not sure is whether he's the right man, because if you see his strike rate, it's always healthy.
120-ish.
120, 125, 130, that's his range. Also, he's a 4-hitter more than a 6-hitter. And why do you think that doesn't count? In this format, when it comes to making 180, 200, those things begin to sort of add up.
He's got to have a guy at the other end going at 180. Yep. So Shreyas Iyer is that man. That's fine if that's the role he's going to play. Maybe they send a Watia or a Shankar up to the top of the order. I don't know. Maybe they try something a little bit different today in that matter.
Okay, the reason why I'm waving these cards at you is because I'm just hearing that even though the good man Gigi announced 2 changes at the toss, we believe there could be as many as 5.
Stop it. Seriously?
Yeah. So we'll just confirm that for you in a moment. Let's keep this discussion going. At least we know he's in the team. So we can, for the moment, we can keep that going about
I just want to know where Vijay Shankar is playing, and at least we're sure Gautam is playing.
He's not playing. Vijay Shankar isn't playing.
He's not playing.
Oh, they broke my heart.
There you go. Okay.
They gave him so many chances, and they broke his heart. He didn't bat.
Who are the other batsmen that they have in their squad?
They're Prithvi Shaw.
Prithvi Shaw. He's got to have a game.
He's a good guy.
He must have a game then. If no Shankar?
Yeah, 100% Prithvi Shaw.
We'll get the team sorted.
We're likely to have Amit Mishra coming in because he bowls well. He likes that ground despite the short boundary.
Well, they also would have thought that Gale was playing, and Gale against leg spin, taking the ball away from bowling those wrong-ins, which Amit Mishra does a lot of. So they would have planned for Chris Gale, I'm sure.
So is this like 5 changes? You know, we talk about having a home jersey and an away jersey. Is this like a home team and an away team? Completely different lineup?
Also, I'll tell you what happens. Typically, you have a team meeting in which the lineup is decided. After that, the manager basically gets a team sheet. He goes and photocopies 5-6 copies. Yeah. Okay. The danger is they could have 15 minutes before they could have figured out that Gale is not playing and quickly made changes, and somebody would have gone mad trying to find the right copies to give to the right people. So it's quite possible that they've sort of reacted at the last minute, and it's complete mayhem.
I can tell you a really quick anecdote while we wait for that team. In the West Indies in 2002, I've always had this run-in with my classmate Saurav Ganguly, and this was a big match in the Caribbean, and India and the Caribbean always went with one spinner. Yes. So the conundrum was it Bhaji, was it Kumble? Every match. So in the morning I had to go, my only duty was try and find out so the graphics guys can put it in time. Yeah. So I was told that it's going to be Kumble playing and not Harbhajan, and there was a last minute fitness test, and Kumble was all ready. He was there with the war paint on, having a look at the pitch. I asked Dada, I said, Kumble playing? So I went and reported back, and that's it. Next thing I see in the 11th, Harbhajan playing, and everyone's having a go at me. I said, ask my classmate. It's not my fault. But yeah, I mean, you can make last-minute changes.
You can.
Saurav Ganguly has changed more teams in Kolkata Knight Riders in a very short time there than you'd. He's given a lot more white hair to me than you'd believe.
Saurav put a tweet out the other night, and I must say, unbelievably great work from the ground staff at Eden Gardens the other night. They were superb, and Saurav gave them a big round of applause. Eden Gardens, 15 minutes after the rain, starting game, blah blah blah, brilliant, best ground in the world. And I just sent a little message back. I said, any chance we could have a new commentary box, boss? Worst commentary box in the world.
Well, yeah,
one of the best grounds, given that, but please, Dada, come.
We'll convey it to him. We'll convey it to him. We'll make sure that a clip of Cricket Buzz Live is sent to Saurav Ganguly, because he's very proud of that ground. And maybe you can get the commentary box on the Super Stopper since it's so good. All right, let's get to the team now. We've been waiting for that. All the drama. We love drama, don't we?
Wow.
There we go. That's Delhi Daredevils B team.
Avish Khan. This is fascinating.
Wow. Okay.
So under 19 left-arm bowler from 2016. Of course, Prithvi Shaw at the top. Now, perhaps that's where he slots in, and Amit Mishra comes in along with the 2 changes we already mentioned, which was Dan Christian and Liam Plunkett coming in for Jason Roy and Chris Morris. So that also means Vijay Shankar goes out, And we've got one more person going out up at the top of the order, which is Shahbaz Nadeem is also out, and Harshal Patel.
Harshal Patel again. Harshal Patel for me is not an issue, but my question out here is Avesh Khan a fast bowler or is he a spinner?
Fast, left arm bowler.
Quick bowler.
Wow, left arm quick. That means they really. Amit Mishra is the only spinner out there. Of course, Maxi can bowl.
Max will bowl a little bit. He's actually bowled quite well. At the Kings 11, when he took more responsibility and bowled, I thought he did a good job for them last year. So I want to see Glenn Maxwell bowl more. But what they've gone for is the left armers to maybe come up against, again, the man that's not playing, and Trent Boult and Avesh Khan, and a little bit of extra pace. Liam Plunkett. So we've got a journalist in New Zealand. We've got a journalist in New Zealand called Sean Plunkett. That's why I get very confused.
Good save, Dolly. Good
Liam,
save.
You can Google him. I'm right. but he's he's a big, strong lad. So he'll add a little bit to that team, and Prithvi Shaw gets an opportunity. And this is one of the great things about the IPL. These young men coming through the system, coming through the Under-19 World Cup. We've seen it a little bit at Kolkata. I think Marvi was good the other night. I felt a little bit sorry for him the other night because he'd beaten Gale, and then he got a streaky one away, and then all of a sudden Chris Gale was off. But love seeing these